Steve Kuncewicz is a social media law expert at the commercial firm BLM Law. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, Rachel.
Is it as simple as these kinds of companies being able to identify this content and just removing it? It feels like it should be that easy.
Well, it certainly does, I think, from the fact that if you look at the huge range of technological tools at their disposal, it may seem pretty straightforward to remove this kind of content. However, the law as it is protects the platforms in that if they're not absolutely aware that this kind of content is on their system, they don't really need to do a great deal to moderate it until it's brought to their attention. But I think the issue now is that this has been very much brought to their attention, not only in the context of suicide and self-harm, but in relation to child abuse, in relation to fake news, in relation to disinformation generally. I think what we're seeing is a growing call for regulation because there's a feeling among the public and certainly among parliamentarians that the platforms aren't doing enough to deal with this in their own right.
So how does the law need to change then to force them to take more responsibility for this?
Well, there's a suggestion that there might be a regulator in the same way as there is a regulator around broadcasting. Ofcom's been suggested as a model. And what we've seen in Germany is that the government there is suggesting fines if networks and platforms don't pull content down when they're told about it very, very quickly. In Germany, they're talking about hours. There's been a suggestion that there might be a similar fine to data protection if something similar happens in the UK. They've talked about age verification. They've talked about a number of other technical measures that they'd be expected to take. But unfortunately, law tends to play catch-up with technology, and I think it'd be a while before we saw anything concrete from DCMS or anyone else around how they intend to regulate and how this is going to work in practice.
Which is why we're relying on the social media companies to do some of the work themselves. Is it technically possible, because there is a vast amount of content on these platforms, is it technically possible for them to track everything that's there?
Well, there's an argument that anything's technically possible. The Samaritans, for example, have suggested that you might simply be able to change an algorithm and solve this problem. The platforms are trying, and when they see things like this brought to their attention, as they did with child sexual exploitation a few years ago, they do take technical measures. But they're also looking, as you said, to consult with people, to consult with child abuse specialists, suicide prevention. So they are doing what they think they need to do and doing what they think they're obliged to try and resolve this. But I think we're a long way before we get a real solution to this problem.
Just for our audience, explain how these algorithms work. What are they? Because this is something that Molly's dad, Ian, brought up. He said so much content is available for young people to find easily, and by finding it, they have more and more of it pushed on them by algorithms. So what does he mean by that?
So what algorithms are bits of software that react to you based upon your use of the system. So in the same way as you'd use Google and you'd have certain ads delivered to you on websites, the same would be true on social networks. And again, what the Samaritans are proposing is that if you would search for, say, suicide or self-harm, the software would be geared in such a way as you'd get positive content delivered to you rather than negative content. So this, I think, is one of the reasons why people see technical solutions as the most straightforward answer to this problem.
Yeah. There is also an argument, isn't there, around whether social media platforms should be effectively editorialising the content that's there, deciding what people can and can't see, because if you then take this to extremes, it may be that they can push certain agendas in certain ways, and there is something about the freedom of the internet for people to be able to share almost anything they want to share. And in some cases, you know, there are forums in which young people who perhaps are vulnerable and do self-harm can find some comfort and reassurance and confidence and help and support from other people in similar communities.
Well, that's exactly right. In this particular case, it's going to be very hollow for the family that's experienced terrible loss. But I think what Instagram have said is that some of this content really is an example of the wisdom of the crowd. People who are considering self-harm, people who've had their own experience of self-harm, actually helping each other, creating this sense of community and posting content that has the opposite kind of effect. I think all people see at the moment are the negatives, and certainly that's why you'll see, as I said before, people like Instagram working with charities to make sure that they're not just using technology as a blunt tool and not taking out what they could see as perhaps some of the positive effects of that community on anyone who sees that content.
And finally, we'll have a discussion about this later, but parents, carers all have a role to play in this as well, don't they?
I think they absolutely do. If you look at any of the reports around this, the idea that parents would let their children have absolutely unsupervised access to social media has to be part of the problem. That doesn't suggest that the platforms don't have a part to play. That doesn't suggest that governments don't have a part to play as well. But there's no easy fix by just one particular person in this chain of events or one particular platform in this chain of events.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
That's Steve Kuncewicz, social media law expert at the commercial firm BLA.